My name is Doug Brown. I'm Vice President of Product Management for GovPartner, and you are joining the GovPartner Mobile Connect. It's a webinar. It will take roughly about 30 minutes this afternoon. If there are questions and answers, we'll tack those to the end for those who want to stay and ask any kind of additional questions. On the system, if you look at your navigation off to the right, you can raise your hand and type in a question, or else you can just hold on to your questions and ask them at the very end. In that interface, you have the ability to kind of raise your hand. There's that little button there. You can do that towards the end, and we can take those questions. The goal of today's session is to talk a little bit about mobile connectivity. And so I have some contact information if you want to talk to our Business Development Manager, Kevin Vincent. His contact information is up there on the screen for you right now. And what we're also going to be doing is providing that information at the end of our session as well. My name, I believe I said that already, is Doug Brown, and welcome to the session. I think Confucius probably did not have a cell phone, but he did say, no matter where you go, there you are. And in today's society with technology and the proliferation of different cell phone and mobile devices out there, that's pretty applicable, is that people are now kind of posting to Facebook and Twitter and checking their email and responding back to clients in the middle of their kids' baseball games, in the middle of a movie theater, and no matter where they can go. A lot has changed. A lot, for some of us that have a little bit of gray hair, a lot more than you think. This screen kind of brings back a lot of memories to me. I recall back in a long time ago, there was a magazine called Mobile Technology, or Mobile Magazine. I remember it had this beautiful ad in it, and on that beautiful ad there was a Lamborghini, and on the top of the Lamborghini there was this laptop in a briefcase with a fax machine that said, no matter where you go, you can exchange and conduct business deals with Stockholm, Sweden. I mean, the thing must have weighed about 500 pounds, kind of like the portable PC you see on the screen now, along with the brick phone. If you guys have used those in the past. Things have come a long way. Now you can do the same thing with something that fits in your pocket. So pretty powerful changes that are going on in our society. Yesterday's methods of how we communicated to each other and how you communicated to your constituency kind of fell along the lines of you had memos, you had face-to-face contact, you had conference calls, and we had the thing called fax back then. I remember one of my mentors had a very good way of counseling me on how to manage communications. And he said, if you had bad news, go talk to the guy face-to-face. If you had good news, go put it in a memo and copy the entire universe on it. That business rule is very applicable still today. However, the channels have changed. Today's communication channels are a lot wider and a lot more different types of channels. We have websites today that we did not have yesterday. Websites not only are kind of places to put static information, websites allow you to communicate and interact with your public. Web applications, this is the business GovPartner is in. Web applications give you the ability to communicate and record and manage your business processes all within the context of a web browser. Email today is now what yesterday's memo was. Very, very few people today anymore will type up a memo and then attach that memo to an email. Email now is the de facto memo of today's society. Social media is very powerful. It's evolved more than most people realize. We're going to talk about that in just a couple of moments, and it is relevant to how we talk about mobile technology. Video conferencing is now becoming very pervasive. It's now almost replacing the conference call. You know, Skype is a huge deal. With GovPartner ourselves, we have a team on a project in the Middle East right now, and we do video conferencing to connect with them and understand how their challenges are on the project on a day-to-day basis. Instant messaging is also very powerful. There are some businesses out there today that are actually extending that out into the marketplace so that you can instant message your different types of businesses that you want to do business with. Just to give you some a ballpark or some framework for all this activity that's going on, there's 400 million active Facebook users, 400 million registered active Facebook users, 300 million different active Facebook pages for businesses. So businesses are understanding that it's not just a place to go post pictures of your kids. It's a place for them to reach out and communicate in a different setting with the different kind of constituents that they have and the different consumers they have. Cities and local governments are realizing that also. Over 5,000 cities right now and local governments have Facebook pages. Do you have one? Have you considered it? Start thinking about it, because in terms of how to reach out and establish that connectivity with your constituency is a very powerful vehicle. We talked about instant messaging and video conferencing. Over 650 million registered Skype users. Skype, by the way, if you don't recall, was bought by Microsoft not too long ago. That's kind of like the housekeeping seal of approval when Microsoft gets involved. For mobile technology, over 300,000 apps have been developed for mobile cell phones and smartphones and tablets over the last 3 years. They're expecting in 2013, analysts are predicting the app demand expected to peak. So we're not even close to the peak yet of what is going on out there in our society today. Now, how this kind of translates to how we communicate, let's talk about the platforms we've been reviewing. The web, email, instant messaging, and social media. You now have different platforms that carry that message. You have the personal computer. It's been around a while, but it's starting to take a different role in the house. It's starting to take a different role in the business. Along with that, it used to be we used to worry about how the personal computer was connected back in the days of modem technology. Used to hear a lot of conversations about the last mile to the home and fiber to the home. Now just about every house out there has broadband connectivity. So now you can stream activity. Think about streaming your city council meeting minutes over the internet. Some cities are already doing it. If you want to look at kind of a benchmark, the NFL this year streamed the Super Bowl. So that kind of tells you how much acceptance is going on in that platform in terms of communication now. The tablet has been a huge hit in all sectors of our society. It already has a lot of them you can purchase with 3G and 4G technology. It's touch friendly. I go back to what what Steve Jobs said about the tablet is you don't need a stylus, you don't need a mouse, you don't need a device to communicate with it. God gave you these 10 digits that are your own styluses. You use your fingers. So that is why the tablet has taken off so well. Mobile, cell phones, smartphones, Android phones, iPhones, all have taken off. 3G, 4G, ease of use, you slide them in your pocket and you can communicate and understand what's going on in the office no matter where you are. All this kind of gives you this ubiquitous push that you can reach out across all kinds of different market segments, across all kinds of different constituencies with different messages and different channels to manage those messages. Let's talk for just a couple moments about the typical mobile application, because I want to draw a distinction in between what's out there in the marketplace today and how GovPartner is taking a look at it. And I want to share our views and our perspective of what we think is going to be the key ingredients to success in this market. Okay. First of all, an atypical app, you download it from the marketplace, from the iStore, and you don't have any access to a database, because what you do is you enter in your information, and then what happens is that mobile application is then going to send through an email or through SMS or some kind of disconnected state that information back to your back office. And so then you have to rekey that information. That's kind of the typical scenario right now. Okay, so what happens is if you have a user on a mobile phone and they fill out this typical mobile application, you end up getting an email that you have to either print off or open up in one screen and then key that information into your back office management system in the other, whether it's your public works system or whatever system you have back there. We think that that's too disjointed and it needs to be a lot smoother and a lot more connected. Our solution is what we call the enterprise application, and we've been very intentional about how we've approached the mobile market. With the GovPartner mobile app that we're going to show you in just a couple of moments, our first release, 1.0, what we do is we take that information and rather than send you an email, we connect it directly into your back office products. Okay, and so what that translates to is Mobile Connect directly connects into your request partner installation, your GovPartner Connect installation, so that if there's a pothole, you go into Request Partner and there's that pothole, there's a picture of it, you know the latitude and longitude, and you've not had to rekey any information. It goes directly back into your enterprise. What that does in terms of your process and business flows, it's very, very powerful. It means that mobile application can feed the rest of your business processes. And let's take a look at 3 of those. First of all, a work order. If there's a pothole, you have to have a work order to go out and have somebody in a pickup truck to go fix it. With this, the way you can set up your business processes, you can fully automate it, semi-automate it. You can set it up so the moment that pothole is discovered, somebody takes a picture and submits it, it automatically creates a request partner ticket, and that request partner ticket automatically creates a respective work order. and the work order is automatically assigned. So the moment someone hits submit, you can have a guy in a pickup truck heading out with his patch and his skid loader out to go fix that. That's how seamless you can make this, because we have it fully connected to the enterprise. Same scenario, only with compliance. You've got somebody that has a rusty Buick parked out in the front lot that's in violation of the municipal code. You have very tall grass that's, a foot high, and you got to get the owner to go out and mow it. You can have it set up to a point that that mobile application will automatically create that request partner, that CRM issue. And that CRM issue then can create that compliance case, so the compliance officer knows exactly down to the latitude and longitude where it was, what happened with it, what needs to happen, and can go validate that issue and issue the guy a warning letter. All seamless transitions. The next one is a little more different, but to me it's just as critical, and it's what I call the global view. What the global view is talking about is that as a city, you want to be able to have all the information consolidated in one place. Right now, you may be living in a very disjointed world where you may have one database or an access database or a spreadsheet on this PC that has your code compliance cases. You have one over here that has your building permits. You need to evolve to a point where you have an enterprise perspective. In other words, you open up one application and you enter in an address. And that address is 123 Main Street. And if you look at 123 Main Street through this global view, you know that the guy has a pending building permit. You know that the guy needs to renew his business license because he's owes you 2 years in back fees. You also want to know that, by the way, not only does he owe you 2 years in back fees, but he just had 3 compliance tickets show up about the fact that he has not mowed his lawn and he has a rusty Buick. That's the value of providing this interconnection with the mobile application, is that all this information goes into one singular location where you can look at all of your business processes relative to a business or a location or relative to a person and have that global view, all tie it together. What is the advantages of doing all this? First of all, there's that word that you're probably getting tired of hearing called transparency, increased transparency. Transparency, even though it's been a buzzword, has a very powerful statement. If you look at the fiscal policies of today and where we are with the funding cuts that are going on right now, we're going through an economic period where everybody wants to know what every single dollar is getting spent on. They're worried. Okay, with increased transparency, you can let them know that everything is being managed to the best, that you're doing your best to manage their tax dollar money. Put it in a scenario, for instance. A lot of times, a lot of what we hear from cities that we talk to is, especially in terms of mobility, in terms of customer complaints, is that someone will call in, and say, the stoplight is burned out on the corner, and my kids are standing there waiting to catch the bus. I filed it 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't heard anything about it. Okay, increased transparency with this loop and with this mobility application, you have a closed loop. What that means is you provide them information, they provide you information, and then you provide the information back. I'm sorry, we went out and looked at it, and the bulb that needs to go into that stoplight is backordered by 2 weeks. As soon as we get it in, we'll let you know. Okay, that's increased transparency. That's letting them know that you're there and you're working hard for their tax dollar. 24/7, and this is a two-way street with 24/7. For the constituent, he doesn't have to go to City Hall. With 24/7, they can file that service request on their mobile phone just as they're standing there waiting to get a cup of coffee. Okay, but conversely, it also works the other way. It means that your front counter staff do not have to go answer the phone when he calls them. They don't have to go take that email and rekey it somewhere else. It means that you are freeing up the traffic load from your front counter and allowing them to do more efficient, more effective things. Friction-free. This was a quote from Bill Gates going back about a dozen years or so now, but it was one of my favorite quotes that he had when he was actually running Microsoft. He was talking about the up-and-coming internet, if you can remember those days or not. But he talked about friction-free and how with the internet what we're doing is we're creating this friction-free ability to connect the buyer and the seller. In terms of local government, what we're doing is we're creating a friction-free environment so that you can connect with your constituents without all the barriers to that. You don't have to have people fill out forms because it's online. You don't have to have them dial a phone number. They don't have to drive anywhere. There's no barriers to get that communication going in between them. And finally, and probably the most importantly, is the staff efficiency. This is huge, okay? You want the guy that's going to go out and fix that pothole and take that skid loader out and get the patch and go out and do his job. You don't want him on the phone half the day trying to find out where that pothole is. trying to find out exactly when that came in and who called it in. With the mobile app and with the connectivity with the CRM module, you have him doing only what he has to do. He doesn't have to chase the details because the details are provided to him. All right? Enough talk. Let's show you how real world works. What we have done, and I'm going to switch screens here for just a second, so hold on just one moment. What you should see on your screen right now, if I can get it moved out to there we go. Hopefully you should see this okay. What you're seeing is we have a generic Android tablet, and you're connected to that in real time. I'm doing screen sharing in between this Android tablet. It's a 7-inch tablet about the size of a Barnes & Noble Nook, if you're familiar with that. And I've got our software loaded on it, and I also have software loaded so that I can share that with you in real time. Okay, so if you look at the tablet right now, you can see in the upper left-hand column, you have a software icon called Connect. And I'm going to reach down, and I'm going to touch Connect right now, and it's going to load up. This software is setting out in the marketplace. I've already set it up to save time for today. And when we set it up, you specify the location, which I already have specified, which is Cedar Rapids, Iowa in this case. And then the customer can see that he can either create a request or view his existing request. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on Create a Request, and it's now going to load up and give us our choice of forms. So just one moment, and we'll get that screen to pop up. And you can see we have a garbage cart exchange request and a pothole repair request. Obviously, you would have a lot more forms here, but I want to kind of keep everything nice and simple for you to understand how things can work. All right? So we're going to go ahead and select on pothole request, or pothole repair, I'm sorry. I misspoke there for a moment. I'm just going to pull that form up. And now what we're going to do is we are going to enter description. And I'm going to say that I noticed, and you can see how well I type on a tablet. Noticed this pothole on highway, oops. Nice thing is I see the mistake before you guys do. Highway 51. And you should see that in just a moment there. Now I can provide my contact information so I can get that feedback loop that we were talking about earlier. So I'm going to type in my email address. By the way, I do love tablets. I will confess I do. Now there's a little checkbox over to the left that says Remember Me, and if I click that, it's going to remember who I am for the next time I come back and use the application. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the button Next, so I'm going to click on Next. And now what it's going to do is we're going to find the location of where I'm at. So I'm going to click on Find Me. And it's going to ask if we want to use the GPS coordinates from the tablet or from the phone, and I'm going to say yes. And now you can see it's found the latitude and longitude. I'm going to go ahead and say Go. And you're going to see that it's brought back 3 choices for me to do. I can use the address that it's reconciled this to, 8710 Earhart Lane Southwest, which is where we're at. It can use an address as I typed it, or it can go and just pass the latitude and longitude from the GPS. So I'm going to go ahead and select 8710. There we go. And what it's going to do is going to take the address I selected, and it's going to pull up a satellite image and show me exactly where I am, so that if I need to move or adjust this, it's going to be able to define where I am and reconcile that address. And I can actually tell it to go find the nearest address. And it's found and validated 8710 Earhart Lane. And then we're going to click on Next. For some reason, the satellite image is not pulling back. It could be the connection because we're sharing this. And now I can choose I can either take a camera picture with this, or for time, for purposes of the demo, I can go to the gallery and pull up one of the pictures I already have stored on the device. So I can select the pothole that I took a picture of and then just click on Next. Now it's going to review everything that I uploaded, the address, the location, the description, the email address, and then I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to say yes, submit the request. And you can see that request 30 was created and the photo was uploaded successfully. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to switch windows, and we are going to go to the real-time request partner system sitting on the back office. And you should see that screen loading up right now on your screen. I'm already logged in, and I think I may need to re-log in because it's been a while since I've been in. Yes, I do. So let's log into the system. Now you can see today on the recent request that came in, we can search for it, but it's right in front of us. On 329, there was a pothole repair. So let's go ahead and open that request up. Now if you look at that mobile description when the screen, I'm going to scroll it up so you can see it well. You'll see it. Notice this pothole on Highway 151. And so now we know for a fact that this is the same one that we submitted. All right. And what we can then do is we can now manage this request. There was no email that I rekeyed. There was nothing else. If you go to the right-hand window pane, coming over here on the right, you can see that I can select a work order template. So I can select the pothole. There can be a whole ton of those sitting in there, all kinds of different templates that can work. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Generate Work Order. And we'll go take a look at that work order in just a couple of moments. But also, if you look right below where we just were, you can see weeds and tall grasses, and you can see generate a complaint. And so what we can do is, if this was one that was qualified for a complaint, we could go ahead and click on Generate Complaint, and that would generate a code compliance ticket for the code compliance officer to pursue. Now, we talked about on the other side of the fence how we could communicate and create a window going back to everybody. On the left-hand window pane, you see staff activities and you see public activities, right? We can go click on Add New, and then I can type in here, a work order has been created, and we will update you as soon as the team is on site. Now, I don't know that you actually want to do that, but you get the idea, and then I can post that. And it's automatically going to route back to the constituent who filed that particular issue. Now let's go back and take a look at the work order, and we'll talk about the work order for just a couple of moments. If you scroll down here, you can see that right now we've just had a work order come through that is pending, item number 3. Actually, that's not the one. We've got this list is a little big. There we go. Now on your screen you can see we have a pending work order for pothole repair. I can click and look into that particular work order, or I can just click on it and approve it. And now the gentleman that's assigned to that particular work order template knows that there's a pothole somewhere along 151. And if he goes back to that service request, he'll have the exact latitude and longitude and an image of where it was. So that kind of gives you a good feeling, hopefully, of how we can provide this kind of seamless transition in between somebody sitting on a cell phone and someone actually conducting the work. Let's go back and take a look at that pothole repair one more time. And just some of the other attributes you can have. Here, as you can see, it came in from the mobile because it has a mobile description. And one thing I was going to show you is if we scroll down long enough, mobile attachments, mobile picture for request 30. If I click this open, we'll now see that picture. I'll open up in a different window. I'm sorry. Let's do it this way. Now you can see that picture of the pothole that we uploaded from the tablet. The one thing I want to talk to you a little bit about at the very end here, and then we can take a couple questions if there are any. The first thing is, this is our first generation product. And right now what we are doing is we're looking at all the feedback from the cities that are using the application today, taking that and looking what we can do to improve the application. Second thing I want to kind of stress with you is to understand that what is critical is understanding the perspective of what needs to happen. This is the first of many of what we're looking at. We understand that mobile technology is out there today and it's becoming more and more pervasive. So this is the first mobile application we've developed. We're looking at all kinds of different applications and venues of how we can extend your enterprise product suite into the mobile marketplace. Anything from dealing with mobile inspections for your code enforcement officers and for your building officers in the middle of footings inspections and mechanical and electrical inspections, to the overall use of the tablet. Can we take the tablet? What can we do with the tablet? Can we give you the entire application on a tablet? Those are the kind of things we're looking at long term. Obviously, it's still a very young market in terms of mobility, but our goal is to provide you kind of that enterprise point-to-point perspective communicating with your constituency. My name has been Doug Brown. I'm Vice President of Product Management. If you have more questions and above and beyond what we're going to talk about next, be sure and give Kevin Vincent a call. He's our Business Development Manager. You can reach him at 951-704-0751 or kvincent@govpartner.com. It's 2:27, so we can go ahead and open it up for questions. And we have a couple here. Let me see what I can open this up so I can read them, okay? First question is there no built-in spell check? Not at this time, but like I indicated, this is the first version of the mobile application. And what we want to do is take feedback like that for spell check, those kind of things, and see what we can do. Obviously, the other thing we want to do along with that is make sure that this is something that is not heavy and it's not slow and it's easy for the constituent to use. And I would say that's probably one of our primary concerns going into the second version of this, is that we want to make sure it's user-friendly as well as enterprise-friendly as well. Thank you, Josh, for that question. Is there a cost associated either the owner or the citizen for this app? Obviously, for this app to work, you need to be using GovPartner's CRM product called Request Connect. In terms of the mobile application, at this time, I would refer that question to Kevin, and we can go from there. I do not believe at this time that we're charging for the mobile app, but I may be wrong. To be honest, I am not party to that question. So, next question is, what devices will this work on, and what operating systems? Very good question. Right now, we have built two specific apps, one for Android devices and the other for iPhone devices for the Apple product. We're looking at other markets. We're looking at other methods. One of the biggest challenges, and I kind of want to share, that's a good question. I'm actually going to elaborate on that. As you look at different mobile applications, you basically kind of have two choices. One is to build it to be phone specific, and the other one is to build kind of a wrapper for a web page design that fits within that will run on anything. The challenge you have in those two kind of scenarios is that if you build more towards generic that's going to work on everything, it means you can't kind of go into the system hardware and go grab the camera and take a picture of it. You can't go out and grab the GPS coordinates and bring it back and take a picture of it. So our focus right now is we believe that that's probably a good thing to do, is to get that kind of information back into the application. And so for this first generation, we went with very platform-specific or device hardware-specific devices. Is there a web interface as well for Request Partner? There sure is. For Request Partner, you just simply, it's an exposed portal, and tell you what I can do is I can go out and show you real quick here. Let me log out. And let me share this for you. This is our demo version of it. So it's not really fancy, but you can do all kinds of drop your citizen graphics across the top of the masthead and everything else. But it does allow you to go in, and you do not have to register. Let me see if I can get out to the simple one there. That didn't work. My apologies. But I wasn't prepared to show that. I should have. But yeah, we can do that as well. So to answer your question, we do have a full website interface for Request Partner as well. Another question about mobile permitting app. That's one of the things we're looking at from a business requirement standpoint. I think that there's a use for that and a need for that, simply because if you're a general contractor, you may want to be able to file a permit or get a status on your inspections or your plan reviews while you're on site. We already have the public portal that is a web-based product, but it's not specifically for the mobile app, and I think that's one of the things we will definitely be looking at in the future. And I did get confirmation right now there is no charge for the mobile application if you have Request Partner. Thank you, Kevin, for adding that. Do we plan on interfacing with other back-end applications? That really would not work very well for us. If you're talking about other applications other than GovPartner, that really will not work too well because this is very driven for an enterprise database management system which we provide. So I don't know that to kind of unbolting it from GovPartner and tying it to someone else would be very feasible at this point. We're getting towards the end. Let me take one or two more questions, and then what we can do is the rest of the questions we can refer on to somebody else. One question is, how much effort does it take to set up the entire mobile system? Actually, it's about 2 checks. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but the short of it is you build, if you have a Request Partner, you build all of your interfaces for the website. You build all your forms. And then what you simply have to do is go in and click a checkbox and enable that for a mobile form. And that's all it takes to make that to be a mobile request form. So in terms of setting it up, there's really not a lot of effort in what you need to configure this for the mobile marketplace. Will this webinar be available for download? I wish I had an answer to that. I do not know. Let me see, and if it is, we will make it available to you. I want to thank everyone for their time. I think we've gone through all the questions, hopefully, and appreciate everyone's attendance and patience. Have a good afternoon.